hosts and the parents of the children are worried that nowadays why the schools are pressing to have an APAAR ID, that is APAAR, which comes under the National Education Policy 2020. Now, why is the school pressing to have the APAAR ID, and whether it is mandatory to have it or not? This is what we will be looking today. Hello and welcome to the in-depth series section of Drishti IAS. I am Aisha, and in today's episode we will be talking about that whether is it mandatory to have an APAAR ID or not for the students. The points of discussion will be about, first of all, about the news, then what is APAAR ID, is having an APAAR ID mandatory or not, and how is it generated, and in the end a prelims MCQ topic is of relevance from general studies paper 2 and 3. Now, is the APAAR ID for students mandatory or not? This is what the news says. So, what catches everyone's attention is the APAAR. What is this ID and why is it in news? So, as we move forward, Drishti IAS Mukherjee Nagar classes has now been shifted to Noida, and the admissions are open for the offline classes for the IAS GS Foundation course covering both prelims and mains. So, the offline batches English medium are starting from the 8th of April, while the Hindi medium batch is starting from the 26th of March. And for any information, you can contact us at 87501 87501. So, the news talks about that schools nowadays are pushing to generate an APAAR ID. An APAAR ID, APAAR is a part of the National Education Policy of 2020, and it talks about that it comes under the record keeping reforms of the National Education Policy, and it is voluntary in nature, and this voluntary nature is written or is given on the official ID on the website, that it is not mandatory, it is voluntary in nature. And APAAR ID is under the record keeping reforms. Record keeping reforms means that having all the information of the student, and that record is kept, and that record or a particular ID will be created on the name of a student, and that will be a 12-digit number which will be unique and which will be permanent in nature. And while having that number, a student ID which will be pan India, because it also comes under the one nation one student criteria, it will also fulfill. And whenever the ID will open, every single academic accomplishment with regards to the student will be mentioned there, and any institution or any other organization who wants to look into the academic accomplishment of the student can look into it, and the other schools also, if the student gets transferred from one school to another school. So, this is basically about the record keeping reforms under the National Education Policy. And the states and school authorities have pushed students to enroll in it to open its APAAR ID. Now, what is a APAAR ID? So, APAAR, it stands for Automated Permanent Academic Account Registry. So, it will be permanent in nature, it will be academic account. It means all the academic information related to a student will be available on the permanent basis. So, this comes under, or this assembles the one nation one student ID criteria also, that all over the nation on pan India basis, one student ID, on the basis of that one student ID, all the information regarding the student will be available with regard to his or her academic performance. Then this will work towards the accumulation and storing academic accomplishment, facilitating seamless transition between institutions for the pursuit of further education. Now, imagine a scenario that a student is passing from one institution to another institution, and the second institution to which the student is going to have admission, the institution can look through that ID with regard to that what is the academic accomplishment of the student, and at one place the institution will be able to find every single information. Then it will be linked to Aadhaar and will be stored in the DG locker. So, linkage with the Aadhaar card will also be done, and it will be stored in the DG locker. Now, DG locker is also for official purposes, and it is at par, or it is regarded at par with the physical documents. So whatever physical documents a student possess and whatever documents are placed in the DigiLocker, they will have same criteria, they will have same legality. So in DigiLocker also a person can put all his official documents. Then it will provide students with standardized data on their mark sheets and institutional affiliation. So all the mark sheets, everything with regards to the educational accomplishment will be mentioned there. Then different educational institutions to rapidly process and verify any given student's academic transcript. Now next is that it will be generated through the Unified District Information System for Education Plus portal. So the portal through which the APAAR ID will be generated is the UDISE Plus. So this is the portal through which it will be generated, and this will contain regional academic statistics and data on schools, teachers and students. So all the students who opt for this will have all the information there. The ID is a key aspect of National Education Policy 2020 mandate to overhaul education data collection by policy making and analysis. So this is one of the key aspects with regards to the record keeping reforms under the National Education Policy, that how the policy making with regard to the record keeping of the students can be changed and can be made better. Then the Education Ministry has been pushing schools affiliated with the CBSE to get 100% saturation with respect to students registering on an APAAR ID. So under the National Education Policy, even the Ministry of Education wants that students should enroll for this, and now schools are pushing for its enrollment. Is it mandatory? So APAAR ID is not mandatory, and this document is posted on the ID's official site. So it is voluntary in nature. Voluntary in nature means that if any parent does not want to have the ID of their children, they can opt out of it. And now the government benefits of APAAR to students. So government is saying that the students will benefit from the APAAR ID. So that is with regards to this will permanently record data on transfer from one school to another school, then entrance examination, admission, job application, skilling, upskilling and everything, because every information will be available in one go. So even the students will not have to provide his or her documents every single time. Then no law mandating its use. So till now any law has not been framed so that the acceptance of the APAAR ID will be made mandatory in nature. So law has not come up till now. Then CBSE and states like Uttar Pradesh have laid out expectations to schools under their umbrella that IDs should be issued to all the students. Now states are also going with regards to the CBSE and the Education Ministry that schools must follow and tell parents and students to go for the having APAAR ID. Then parents often do not receive any information which clearly spells out that the program is voluntary in nature, and few of the problems which has been raised by the parents, or few of the problems or the shortcomings that has been raised is with regards to, first and foremost, and the biggest problem is with regard to the privacy concern. So if at one place it will be centralized in nature, and if at one place every single information with regards to the student will be there, so is the data or is the portal where all the data will be stored is free from the cyber attacks? If any kind of data leak takes place, then what will happen? And then if the data leak or the cyber attack takes place, the privacy, the right to privacy of the students will be at risk, because every single information with regard to the student will be mentioned there, and if the leak take place or if the cyber attack takes place, then the information will get leaked, and if the information will get leaked, then it will come out. So these are few of the shortcomings and also the concerns which has been raised by the parents. Now, how is an APAAR ID generated? What is the procedure for it? So the teachers and schools are taking the lead in guiding parents to generate an APAAR ID for students, and we just discussed about the portal also on which it can be generated. So the teachers are promoting the students and the parents to generate their ID, and schools verifies a student's demographic details, that is their name and date of birth. So after the ID will be created by the parents, the school will verify the information. Then parents are then required to fill a consent form that yes, they have created this ID and they are giving consent that the information which has been shared is true. And after another step of authentication by the school, the APAAR ID is generated. So the verification and the authentication is taken both from the parents and also from the school, and then the ID will be created on which all the academic accomplishment of the students will be shared. So this was it, and in the end a prelims MCQ, and like always you people need to tell me the answer in the comment section. So the question is, which of the following provisions of the constitution does India have a bearing on education? And this is a PYQ of the year 2012. So that is Directive Principles of State Policy, Rural and Urban Local Bodies, 5th Schedule, 6th Schedule, 7th Schedule. Select the correct answer using the code given below. 1 and 2 only, 3, 4 and 5 only, 1, 2 and 5 only, or 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. As it is a PYQ, I expect you to give me the right answer. So that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. Till we meet next time. Keep reading, keep writing, and keep subscribing to the channel. Thank you.
For more informative content, like, share and subscribe, and do not forget to press the bell icon to get the notifications.